for Week 6. Let's get into it. We will begin with Texas State taking on Troy. This is one of two games on Thursday night. We've got the Texas State Bobcats, 14-point favorites on the road here in Troy, Alabama, 58 being the total here in this game. Texas State, looking in the first quarter last week against Sam Houston State, like they were just going to romp that team. Like in the first quarter, and I was watching a lot of that. I was interested. That game actually really intrigued me. Sam Houston State was totally outclassed in the first quarter. And I'm thinking, well, there goes that bet, because I actually did take a piece of the Bearcats of Sam Houston State plus the 9.5, 10 that they were. I'm like, wow, they're just totally outmanned by this Texas State team. Sure enough, they get a score finally down big early. And then the run game started to work for Sam Houston State. It kept that prolific Texas State offense off the field suddenly Texas State, the longer that game went on, CMAC, they couldn't stop the run. It was a really impressive performance for Sam Houston State. They rolled up 298 rushing yards against Texas State in that football game. And it was everybody. It was the quarterback, Hunter Watson, who's a dual threat, who ran for 105 and 2 tutties. It was Jay Ducker, who added 69 rushing yards on the ground with 3 touchdowns. DJ McKinney, 55 rushing yards. Ife Adai, 35 rushing yards. It was everybody chipping in to the ground attack that was just doing a number on Texas State. And credit to Sam Houston, the run game limited the possessions and the opportunity that Texas State had with the football. Now, when Texas State had the football, they made good on it. Jordan McLeod shredded that Sam Houston secondary, 326 through the air, but they really couldn't run the football all that much. 28 rushes, 91 rushing yards for the game with Texas State. And for Texas State to be up, like I said, 22-0 in the first quarter, I'm like, this is over. I felt like. But then Sam Houston answers. They get it to within 8. Texas State responds. And even at 32-21 at half, I thought that, wow, Sam Houston's got some momentum, because this was 22-0 at one point. And then in the third quarter, or the second half, Sam Houston, tremendous defensive effort. They only give up the 1 touchdown, and then they had 4 unanswered scoring drives, third and the fourth quarter, to turn a 39-21 deficit into a 40-39 win, as Christian Pavon ends up getting the field goal with in the final seconds. So hell of a win for Sam Houston State, and that's a bad loss to me for Texas State, considering you were up 22-0. Not because of who you lost to, because I think Sam Houston State's a quality team. How many times did I say in the previews that I've loved Sam Houston State over their win total and thought they could be a dark horse in Conference USA? They are making me look good for that opinion right now. But that's still a game you got to finish if you're Texas State, especially when you're up 22-0. I know it's not going to sit well with them and G.J. Kinney that they couldn't close out. That's now 2 games in a row they couldn't close out. They got off to a good start against Arizona State before that as well, and they found a way to lose that game. So you've now got this team off 2 straight losses, and they had a bye week 2 going into that Sam Houston State game. However, before we start to write off Texas State and we start to get concerned about them, this is an opponent here in Troy that is very bad, way down. We've talked about how much they miss John Summerall and his coaching, and look what John Summerall's doing at Tulane this year. He's been phenomenal there, and they missed. It's a brain drain scenario here for Troy. They miss his coaching big time, and especially, the defense hasn't been the same. The defense did finally step up against ULM last week, and then the offense can't do anything. Barely able to move the football. Goose Crowder actually ended up getting injured in that game, and Tucker Kilcrease had to take over, and he was just not very good, only 57 passing yards. The offense sputtered. Turnovers were a bit of an issue, and credit to ULM on defense. They played a very good game, and again, stymied that Troy offense. Troy defense finally plays better, but they still wind up losing outright as favorites against UL Monroe last week, 13-9 as 7-point favorites. If you watched me on Betting with the Bag last week on Thursday, that was one of my plays from that show. ULM plus the points, they win outright. Troy's not a backable team for me right now, CMAC. And I know they're getting a lot of points. You kind of like to look home dog on a Thursday night national TV game and all that. Troy's not a good football team, and I don't want my money on them. And I think if Texas State is locked in, and they should be, they damn well better be locked in coming out of 2 straight losses like that. And that was also The thing with Texas State, though, is this is now the start of Sun Belt play for them, C-Mac. The Arizona State loss, non-conference loss. The Sam Houston State loss last week, non-conference loss. Okay, none of those games were conference games. So everything is still there for Texas State for winning this conference. This is their first official Sun Belt game. So I'd expect focus from Texas State here. And if they play anything close to their capability, they can absolutely win this game by at least 2 touchdowns. Because if Troy falls behind, how the hell are they going to score? Especially if Goose Crowder doesn't play in this game. So I'm very much leaning to lay in the points here with Texas State. Very much like last week. This feels like Army Temple, Connor, on a Thursday night last week, where I know it's a home dog getting a big number, but I don't like the matchup. The double-digit road favorites, just a much better football team. I kind of feel like this could be similar to Army Temple last week on a Thursday night, where we just lay the points with the superior team in a motivation spot, because I don't think they take Troy lightly now, coming off 2 losses in a row. C-Mac, what do you think here to get us going? Texas State, Troy.
Yeah, they could be the quarterback play. It's probably just going to be Gilchrist. Real quick to John Z. It's going to be a minute. We got to get to – I appreciate the love, John C., with the Super Chat donation. We got to get to 500 subs since we have started the Zone channel, hitting the books. So once we get there monetized, we'll have all that up, donations, Super Chat, stuff like that. But I appreciate that. So when we get there, if you can remember us, hopefully we're still winning games, which I think we will, and giving good insight. Hit us up then, John Z. But I appreciate, letting us know that, my man, in the chat. Rob Free, as always, my dude. Yeah, Texas State, another week. I think just right off the quick, if you like Texas State here, you kind of hit on it a little bit, but man, first half here. What was that game against UTSA? They were up 35-3. Even last week, 32-21. The game was tied against Arizona State, but they look good 21 apiece in that one. So I'd look, if you like them first half, because, yeah, the quarterback play and whoever is in.
There are still a couple of -7s out there with Texas State first half, if you like them. And I agree.
Are there 7s?
First half and full game. Yep.
Definitely. I mean, this one I think they could cover, but this is not really a team that I'm like racing to run out and cover the number. And what I brought up is kind of who they played is I never trust the defense. I was like, still had questions about them. And I kind of brought it up.
Defense is still not primetime defense.
Yeah.
Here
and I knew Watson wasn't going to throw it, but I just worried. And they got gashed on the ground, like you talked about, 300 yards. Just, man, they gave it up. And I was so happy because I was like, oh, shit. Man, right away, because I had Sam Houston, a pretty, big bet on them, the 10.5. I got even earlier in the week where I was going to show 8.5 money line. So I was happy they got that done. And you know what showed? I think more the second, the adjustments and the defense. Because I talked about earlier in the week, man, they had the better defense. We'll get to them going in the next game. But with Troy, they at least can Troy run the ball? Like, they're not going to have 300 yards like Sam Houston, but can they have some success and maybe not get down terribly in this game? I don't know. And their thing is, how great is this Troy defense? Can they hold them down? I'm not so sure. We mentioned the quarterback kind of carousel, who's going to be in. I think he'll just be Gilchrist again. I mean, he threw for only 60 yards. I think it was, but man, 61 yards.
Crowder's nothing to write home about, but he's a hell of a lot better than everybody else they have.
Yes, he's a little bit better. So keep an eye on him. It's just tough. This used to be a Troy football team the last few years, been pretty solid and at home, but it's tough for me to look their way. So I think if you like Texas State, look their way early, and that would be it. Because after that, I don't want to lay points with them at all. At all.
I don't blame you. All right.